Welcome back to another Hot Takes video, a series where I make you, the viewer, do all the work while I sit around and yap for a few minutes. I asked you guys for your hottest anime takes and you delivered. I then went through the hundreds upon hundreds of submissions and selected the best ones. Let's get to it. Frieren is a mid-show and was only popular because of the animation and because it was an actual fantasy instead of an isekai. The first few episodes were good, but it later became a boring slog with mostly annoying characters and a story that didn't seem to go anywhere interesting. Oh boy, you are partially correct. The story doesn't go anywhere interesting, and that's the point. Do me a favor, read the title of the show out loud. Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Beyond Journey's End. The journey has ended already. The demon lord has been defeated. That's not what the story is about, and at no point did it pretend like it was. The message was clear since the very beginning. You said you liked the first few episodes. Those episodes established the idea and the rest of the show followed through. It's about the characters and their seemingly aimless quest. Sure, it's a 28 episode show. Did it have a small handful of boring and or uninteresting moments? Yes, but as a whole it was far from a slog. It really annoys me when someone posts a clip from the show with a caption along the lines of "Who said Frieren is boring?" and the clip itself is just an action scene. There's plenty of entertainment that can be found outside of the realms of hype and action. Now yes, of course, you are entitled to your own opinion, blah blah blah, but that defeats the whole purpose behind the video, so shut up. I feel like you dislike the core concept of the show, and in that case, it doesn't make sense for you to like the first few episodes and not the rest. You should have disliked it from the start. And that's fine, by the way. I myself dislike plenty of beloved shows. I'll talk about a couple in this very video. As for what you said about the animation, yes, the all-around production did elevate the show, but in no universe is it carried by the same. The production simply complements the material. It makes the scenes feel more grand, it makes the world feel more lived in, and it makes the character interactions more dramatic. Overall verdict, I disagree. All shonen, long-running or not, will have bad and unsatisfactory endings. Now that's an interesting point, and I am inclined to agree, not because the shows are badly written, but instead because of the way modern anime fans think. I've said this before, fans, especially those of popular shows, take themselves and their headcanons way too seriously. They think they know what's best for the story, even more so than the original author. According to them, anything they don't like constitutes bad writing. Instead of shutting up and letting the story take them on a journey, they predetermine what they want the final destination to be. Unfortunately, they are mostly incorrect because 1. They are not the author and they don't think similarly, and 2. The author, unlike them, actually knows how to write. As a result, endings end up being polarizing. It happened with Attack on Titan, it happened with My Hero Academia, it's actively happening with Jujutsukaisen, and it will continue to happen for the foreseeable future. That's just the way it is. Verdict, I agree. AOT from season 4 onwards is insanely stupid. Its geopolitics is one of the worst in anime by far, and Ymir is the worst female character as she is a plot device. The lore is mid and barely makes any sense, and the ending is a Code Geass ripoff. Straight from r/Titanfolk, aren't you? Let's go through this since it's pretty much a hot take given how positively the anime finale was received by the casual fan. AOT from season 4 onwards underwent a dramatic change in tone, leaning heavily towards political and military components, and I think it did a phenomenal job at it. The way it handled the concept of nationalism, racism, and cyclic hatred was perfect in my opinion, and I don't understand why anyone who has seen the 4th season would think otherwise. You didn't provide any reasons, so I'll extrapolate. Was it too realistic for you? Was it too morally grey? Would you have preferred if a hot-headed shonen protagonist ranted about friendship instead? I don't get it. Even the ones who hate the ending seem to agree that the themes post-basement reveal were handled perfectly. The story evolved and it did a fantastic job at it. I don't know why you're so mad at Ymir of all people. Yes, she is a plot device device, technically speaking, and what's wrong with that? A plot device moves the plot forward, and that's exactly what she does. Plots need plot devices. That's the whole idea. She literally doesn't speak, mate. What more do you want? And finally, we have the Code Geass comment, and it's really funny to me. I think of this as a litmus test. Anyone who thinks the Code Geass ending and the Attack on Titan ending are similar clearly didn't understand the latter. Let me spell it out for you. Spoilers for the Code Geass ending, by the way. Lelouch wanted to and became the ultimate bad guy, causing the world to unite against him and take him down, and in the process get along. Eren wanted to end the world. Where's the similarity? Verdict: disagree. Itsuki Tsuchigami is a better action director than Hakuyugo himself. Now, I usually avoid power scaling animators and directors, but this one is interesting. Tsuchigami and Go are very closely linked and often work with the same team, so I think it's a fair comparison. Usually, I associate Go with a more spectacular, surreal style, and Tsuchigami with a more intricate, grounded approach as far as action choreography goes. Pre-jujutsukaisen, I would have said something like, they both have their own unique styles, and moved on, but then Jujutsukaisen happened. Tsuchigami directed episode 16, which was very spectacular, proving that he can handle both types of action. Also, in terms of pure storyboarding ability, I think Tsuchigami has the edge. The compositions, the flow and timing, the use of camera work, I think Tsuchigami is ever so slightly better at all of those things. Or maybe his work is more up my alley. I don't know. Either way, both of them are absolutely incredible. Obviously, they are two of the best directors in the entire industry. Verdict: I agree, kinda. Hunter is mid to bad except for the Chimera Ant arc. If I speak, I'm in big trouble, but I'll speak anyway. I think the Chimera Ant arc is one of the best from the genre/demographic. That Netero scene still gets me to this day, despite the fact that I've seen it a billion times. I also think that most of the Yorknu arc is very good. However, Hunter to me is wildly inconsistent. On one hand, we have Chimera Ant and Yorknu, but on the other, we have Great Island, which is so boring and dull. Also, a part of me finds it difficult to take protagonists that young seriously. Like, come on. Besides that, I find Gon to be fairly annoying and the world building to be a bit all over the place, but still, I wouldn't say that the show is mid or bad. I think it's a good show all around with a few incredible highlights. Verdict: disagree, but also kinda agree. We need anime openings to have newer and more varied structures. We know the general way it goes from intro, hook, verse, slow pre-chorus, and then the climax where the animation goes bonkers. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, I tweeted this exact thing a while back. Anime openings are so painfully generic. They rinse and repeat the same formula over and over again. Generic J-rock guitars, generic vocals, generic song structures. It's grating. At this point, I like any anime opening that doesn't sound like an anime opening. Experiment with other genres and styles of production, for God's sake. Verdict: I wholeheartedly agree. FMAB is average. It's decent, but nowhere near the legendary status that it has. It has good moments, but there are several boring episodes that have to be pushed through in order to get to the good stuff. Pretty much, I don't even have much else to add. Fullmetalalchemistbrotherhood has an attention-grabbing opening arc and an incredible final arc, and these two arcs have brainwashed people into thinking that the entire show is as good as them, which, let's be honest, it's not. There are so many boring segments and so many naive, poorly executed themes. Remember that take about AOT and its geopolitical storytelling being bad? I think that critique should be hurled at the final leg of FMAB instead. Also, the god-awful comedy. I know it's characteristic of shows from that era, but that doesn't make it any less jarring. There's nothing explicitly bad about the story except for the comedy, of course, but it's not the best show of all time, for God's sake. I saw someone say this about FMAB a while back, and I couldn't agree 3 more. They said FMAB is decent at nearly everything and excellent at almost nothing. I don't hate the show, but the fact that it is considered to be one of, if not the greatest anime of all time, is absolutely ridiculous to me. Verdict, I agree. Sukuna vs Mahoraga was ridiculously hard to follow at times, same with Wailing Zhang's Gear 5 cut. Readability is a thing, just because a work is more complex doesn't mean it's good. You're right, Sukuna vs Mahoraga was incredibly hard to follow, and that's exactly what director Hakugo was going for. Get it? Going? Never mind. Yes, readability is a thing, and a work being complex doesn't mean it's good, but the opposite is true as well. A work being simple and easy to follow doesn't mean it's good either. If the simplicity in question undermines the scale of the fight, it's a bad thing. Context matters. Jujutsu Kaisen has plenty of fights that are easy to follow and intricately choreographed. It's fine if a fight opts for a more spectacle-heavy style, especially if the story calls for it. In fact, I think the lack of readability in this fight is what made it so special. It made the combatants feel like entities beyond human comprehension, which was the whole idea. I can't really comment on the One Piece cut, I don't watch the show, but I think they were going for a similar thing. Verdict, I disagree. None of the big three are amazing and nostalgia carries them hard. They are far outclassed by anime that have come out in the last 5 to 10 years in almost every way. Now, I wouldn't go that far, but yes, there is a layer of nostalgia that clouds people's judgments when it comes to these shows. They overlook several flaws and then go on to grill other shows for having those exact problems. I have read the first 300 chapters of One Piece, I have watched all of Bleach, the anime, and I've seen most of Naruto. I think One Piece is excellent, I think Bleach is good, and I think Naruto is one of the shows of all time. Out of all the shows in the world, it's definitely one of them. Basically, the big three as a whole are good, but I don't think they should be considered the best this medium has to offer. One Piece, maybe I was really impressed with the manga and I will catch up someday, but definitely not the other two. This phenomena is inevitable. Someday current shows will be looked at through rose-tinted glasses as well. It's bound to happen. Verdict, agree with the sentiment but disagree with the severity of the same. We don't need remakes of anime. There is a group that thinks all remakes are bad. They think the mere concept of an anime being remade is a sign of creative bankruptcy, and there's some truth to that. But I think remakes are necessary. I'm not one of those, oh, the old anime aesthetic was so much superior types. I am perfectly fine with the idea of a team taking an old show and remaking it with updated visuals, especially when it's done well. Look at Yaiba or Ranma. Some people might be more comfortable with a newer art style and presentation. Also, the idea of bad adaptations being remade is quite appealing, although that doesn't exactly happen for multiple reasons. As a whole, I think remakes are fine when done in moderation and for a purpose. I think anime is still a lot better than, say, a Disney when it comes to remakes, and I hope it stays that way. Verdict, I disagree. It's unfair how many studios make exactly the same mistakes as Mappa but only receive a fraction of the criticism or hatred. Not really, because of two main reasons. One, Mappa is pretty much the only studio that tries to establish its own name as a brand, as an attraction. For the longest time, they have tried to associate their name with high quality, so naturally they are subject to more criticism and scrutiny. You reap what you sow. Also, Mappa is pretty much the only studio that messes up multiple mainstream projects at the same time. Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen, Hell's Paradise, these shows receive more press and therefore issues faced by them receives more attention. The same thing happens with other studios. Bones gets butchered whenever My Hero Academia features a wonky looking scene. Pierrot gets dragged over Boruto and Bleach. Even Ufotable gets slandered over Demon Slayer despite the fact that the show never falls below a certain threshold of quality. When you pick up popular shows, several of them at a time even, despite lacking the ability to execute them perfectly, you will face criticism. Not that many people care about the obscure isekai anime The New Gate produced at Yokohama Animation Lab being broken, but they do care about the next major action IP. Also, the issues themselves are usually more severe and tragic when studio Mappa is involved. Verdict, I disagree. Anime movies to an existing TV anime should never exist. Yeah, pretty much. I think it's a stupid concept, and it's extremely inconvenient, especially for us overseas fans. I don't care if a soulless production committee makes extra money, especially because none of that money actually makes its way down to the talent. Anime movie releases are a mess. The concept of going to the theaters is annoying to me, and sequel movies are rarely movie quality, so what's the point? Verdict, I agree. Anime at its best is better than manga at its best, but manga is more often the better medium to consume. I received a bunch of anime versus manga takes, but this one was the most nuanced. Yes, if you take a perfect anime and a perfect manga and compare the two, the anime will come out on top any day of the week and twice on Sundays. However, in the real world, the manga is often superior, and there's a reason for that. Anime is a larger work with more moving components, both figuratively and literally. Animation, sound, colors, voice acting, etc. etc. Therefore, the team behind an anime is much larger. The production process is more fragmented, the time needed is more, and the percentage of the artistic vision that makes it to the final product is less. Anime is subject to more corner cutting than manga. No disrespect to manga artists, I know how hard they work. I've seen Bakuman, but anime is a bigger work, and therefore it faces more challenges. I think in an ideal world, anime is the superior medium. Verdict, I agree. And that just about does it. I plan on making this a recurring series. I hope you guys are fine with that. That's about it. Liked the video? Check out this other bit of content on screen, like and subscribe, and until next time.